Welcome to Conga Finishing School. My name is Chioma Woke and I'm the Group Head of HR for Zynax. Today, I will be talking about setting boundaries at work and why it is important that you as a professional set boundaries at work. First of all, it's healthy practice as a professional to set boundaries at work. It enables you to stay productive and also ensure that you're happy in the workplace. Setting boundaries includes separating your work life from your personal life. It also addresses how you want your professional colleagues to interact with you in the workplace. There are different types of boundaries that we can set, and I'll just group them into three: physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, and mental boundaries. Starting with physical boundaries, this enables you to establish how you want to be related with regards to space and touch, like the name connotes. When you set up physical boundaries, it enables your colleagues to know how they should interact with you when it comes to having physical meetings with you or physical interactions with you. Physical boundaries could include you rather shaking an individual than hugging an individual in the workplace. Those are the boundaries you can set. Especially as a woman, a lot of times you have women who would say, "Oh, I don't want to hug you, I'd rather shake," and then they set a boundary that if you come in contact with these persons, you shake them rather than try to hug them. And when you establish it, it ensures that there are no ambiguities around it. Another kind of physical boundary could be, if you want to have your time, is you could have a headphone on in the office while you're working. What that communicates to your colleagues is that I don't want to be disturbed. I want to take this time out to focus on my task at hand. Or it could also mean you going for lunch alone. I mean, when it's time for lunch, we have some colleagues go together, they go to the canteen and they have time to chat. But when you identify that you want to go to the canteen alone, you want to go for lunch alone on solo lunch dates, that is you setting a physical boundary, especially at work. Another thing is, if someone asks for an item from you, you can determine how long you want them to borrow this item from you. That is you setting physical boundaries. So someone walks up to you and says, "Oh, Chioma, please can I use your pen?" You let them know, "Oh yes, you can, but please return it back once you're done with it because I'm still using it." That's you already setting boundaries. So when someone comes to interact with you, they know that if it takes something from you, they need to return it immediately. So those are examples of setting physical boundaries in the workplace. Another kind of boundaries you can set is emotional boundaries. And this helps you to process your emotions while you're at work, especially as it has to do with your colleagues. So one thing is one way of managing emotional boundaries or setting emotional boundaries is, first of all, ensuring that you don't engage in someone's bad mood at work. I mean, you could be with your colleague and they're in a bad mood. You don't engage with them. You don't engage to further escalate the situation. You set a boundary. If someone is having a conversation with you and they're beginning to shout or they're beginning to raise the voice, you can politely tell them that I can see that you're upset at this time and I really don't want to engage, so I don't escalate this any further. So I'd rather decline having a conversation with you now. When you're calmer, then we can continue this conversation. That's a way of setting an emotional boundary. Do not engage in someone's bad mood. Another thing you can do is that you can delegate tasks so that you don't burn out, especially emotionally. So when you have tasks at hand, you can delegate it to people in your team to ensure that everyone works efficiently and the tasks are done right on time. Now, the third kind of boundary I'd like to talk about is mental boundary. This we do so as to ensure that we support our mental health, our mental state, especially as it comes to the job. It enables us also to focus on the job. One of such is setting time in which you can do, or setting work times or work hours, especially when you're at work. So you can decide, I want to work between 8 and 5 every day and I don't want any distractions while I'm at work. Or it could be that you can set your emails. I would respond to mails for 15 minutes every hour, and then you communicate to your colleagues so they know that if they send you an email outside of the time you have dedicated to responding to mails, they might not get an instant response from you. So these are ways in which you can set boundaries so as to enhance your mental state in the workplace. There's so many advantages to setting boundaries in the workplace. The first, which I talked about, is it raises productivity. When you set boundaries, it enables you to focus on the task at hand, and it also helps you to avoid workplace distractions. You and I both know that there are lots of distractions in the workplace, but when you set boundaries, when you set limits, it enables you to focus on your job. Setting boundaries also helps you to lower work-related stress. By delegating things out to colleagues, delegating to your team members, and also setting limits would help you to reduce your work-related stress. And of course, maintain reasonable workloads. These are the advantages that you see when you set boundaries and limits in the workplace. Now, I'd like to just talk about how we can set limits and boundaries in the workplace. The first thing is to set your priorities. Have your priorities right, understand your workload, and set limits, which is what we've been talking about. For example, I had said this earlier on, you can decide, I would work between 8 to 5 every day. I don't want my family life to interrupt my job. Even if you're working remotely at home, you can set aside a room that is focused on the job. That is you setting boundaries within your workspace. You know that, and everyone around you knows that between 8 to 5, you are focused on the job. Setting limits at times could even mean, like I said, responding to emails. You set aside time. This is the time I'll respond to email every hour. Anything outside of this, I might be busy doing other tasks on the job. So this is how you set limits. This is how you can set boundaries. Another way is to delegate tasks to avoid burnout. It's very, very key. You learn to delegate to ensure that you avoid burnout in the workplace. Another thing is to take time off. Some companies, or most companies, would give you time off once a year, and we advise colleagues, or we advise professionals to always take time out so that you can reset. Taking time off is very, very key. As a professional, it enables you to reset, take a back seat, review, analyze, and then come back stronger with better ideas in the workplace. Another thing you can do is to set boundaries, is to ask for advice from your team leads, letting them know that this is what I want to establish. How do I go about it? What is the best way, or what's the best route to go about this? That's how you can set boundaries. And last but not least is communication. Communicate this effectively. You have to establish or develop good communication skill so that you can communicate the boundaries that you have set to your colleagues without them feeling offended. And note that when you set boundaries, expect there to be confrontations, because not everybody would want to respect your boundaries, but you have to emphasize that there might be confrontation as a result of this, and how to handle this kind of confrontations. Last but not least is practice saying no. You need to learn how to say no. If a lot of tasks is given to you, it can lead to burnout. Take up as much as you can handle, and then when additional is given to you, you simply say, at this time, I'm sorry, I cannot do this. Maybe when I'm done with this, I would look into doing it. Thank you so much for your time today, and have a wonderful day.